Hello, and welcome to the Meditation Center's monthly metaphysical lesson. This month's lesson is called Love Your Enemies. Love people who hate you. Pray for people who have wronged you. It won't just change their life, it'll change yours. That's a quote from Mandy Hale. Today's discussion is inspired by Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 48, which reads, "You have heard it said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you that you must not oppose those who want to hurt you. If people slap you on your right cheek, you must turn the left cheek to them as well. When they wish to haul you to court and take your shirt, let them have your coat too. When they force you to go 1 mile, go with them 2. Give to those who ask, and don't refuse those who wish to borrow from you. You've heard that it was said, you must love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who harass you, so that you will be acting as children of your Father who is in heaven. He makes the sun rise on both the evil and the good, and sends rain on both the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love only those who love you, what reward do you have? Don't even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers and sisters, what more are you doing? Don't even the Gentiles do the same? Therefore, just as your heavenly Father is complete in showing love to everyone, so also you must be complete." And so it reads. Love your enemy. Possibly some of the most challenging words of advice ever spoken. How hard can it be to love someone you're supposed to care about, much less someone who doesn't care about you? The human side of us will say, if I show love to my enemy, he'll take advantage of me. If I show kindness to my enemy, he'll get away with his trespasses. If I show compassion to my enemy, it means I'm weak. On the surface, these may ring true, because that's the way we're taught to think. We're taught an eye for an eye. We're taught to love only those who show us love in return. Kindness becomes our currency. Love becomes a bartering tool. How can we truly love anyone if we can't find love for everyone? In the philosophy of divine metaphysics, we teach the law of karma and the law of attraction. What goes around comes around. What we give out is returned to us. It sounds an awful lot like an eye for an eye, but it's quite the opposite. It is said that if we take an eye for an eye, the only thing we accomplish is that everyone ends up blind. What do we accomplish by constantly taking and not wanting to give? Conversely, natural law encourages us to be loving, to be giving, and when we do, loving and giving are returned to us. How can someone hate us if we love them in return? How can someone be afraid if all we give them is kindness? Light casts out all darkness. It casts out all fear. It casts out doubt. We as humans are so eager to even the score, even when we feel that we've been wronged. Sometimes it's an almost uncontrollable response. Our heart wants to say, I just can't let it slide. I've got to get even. But evening the score just keeps things even. Nothing is gained. It's simply even. Always even. No improvement, no advancement, no progress. In fact, as our little saying about blindness pointed out, sometimes getting even actually pushes us into an uncontrolled downward spiral. The more we try to even the score, the more we lose. What I'm describing sounds like it's in a negative context, but getting even works the other way too. How often do we find ourselves trying to outdo someone else's accomplishments, or even our own? Or go out of our way to provide balance for our children or family members when buying gifts? If someone gives me a nice gift, I need to spend as much money on them. If my coworker is praised for a big project, I need to show that I can do it too. It ends up being a competition. The act of giving becomes about achieving superiority rather than the energy of acting from a place of love. It doesn't matter how much money you spend or how much better you do your job than your colleagues. It's about the love with which they're given. While a Wii or a PlayStation or a new car can be wonderful gifts, sometimes a handwritten card or note or even a big hug speaks so much more about who we really are and the love we're trying to express. This material mentality creeps into our daily lives. Several years ago in the neighborhood where we used to live, there was a rash of break-ins, especially cars parked in front of houses. Folks were on social media telling stories about what happened to them and worrying about what they might lose if they aren't diligent. One woman reported that someone had rifled through her car and stolen her wallet that she had forgotten to bring into the house. She said, "They got my credit card, but it doesn't matter because it's maxed out because of the holidays." In her mind, she didn't really lose anything because she had spent it all already. Let them have it. But think about it. She spent everything that was available on her credit card to buy gifts for Christmas. She gave everything she had, and there's nothing left, even for a thief to steal. This story illustrates both sides of my point. On one hand, her material mind had compelled her to max out her credit card to please others. On the other hand, she realized someone wanted to steal from her, so let them. Her life had been invaded. Someone took from her without even asking, but she realized that in the end, despite the inconvenience, she really didn't lose much. And she even found humor in it. When you're in a confrontational situation, don't think in terms of an eye for an eye. Think in terms of, what can I give to this situation that it doesn't have now? What can I give that will make the situation better instead of maintaining the status quo? How can I be part of the solution instead of part of the problem? In a game of tug of war, someone eventually has to be the first to let go. This is what Jesus was referring to when he said, "Turn the other cheek and love your enemies." He isn't telling us to give up. He's telling us to give out. It isn't about letting the other guy win. It's about realizing that it isn't a game that can be won or lost. It's about rising above our naturally selfish and competitive nature and realizing that if we aren't willing to give a little, everyone loses. When Jesus says, "Give to those who ask, and don't refuse those who wish to borrow from you," he's not saying that we should give up all of our hard-earned money and security away to people who are going to take advantage of our kindness, although I'm sure it's okay if you have it to give. He isn't talking about material things at all. He's telling us to give even more, to give of ourselves. He's telling us to give our love, to give our kindness, our compassion, to be complete in showing our love to everyone, regardless of circumstances, just like God is complete, the same God that is part of you. Jesus goes on to describe how the sun shines and the rain falls on everyone, regardless of whether we perceive them as being good or bad. In the book of Acts, Peter restates this very concept. God is not a respecter of persons. God does not show favor to any one person over anyone else. We are all the same. We are all children of God. We are all part of the greater God consciousness that is shared by and among us all. Despite what a popular minister says on TV, you don't have to ask for God's favor. It's already there for all of us, no matter what our circumstances are. The divine Mother, Father, God loves all of us exactly the same. And just as God is not a respecter of persons, neither should we play favorites with people. If we only show love to our family, or to those who show love to us, we're shutting out and shunning several billion of our brothers and sisters with whom we share this planet. If you can love your parents and your children and your spouse and your friends and neighbors, you can easily show that same love and kindness to a stranger on the street, someone who may benefit from your help or your kindness or even a simple smile, even someone who wants to take something from you. It's in our nature to be suspicious, to be cynical. Today's society with modern technology allows us to be more in touch with what's going on in our neighborhood, in our city, our country, and our world. A person speaking a few words in a small corner of the world can almost instantly be analyzed, criticized, and ostracized by millions of people in less time than it takes to mail a postcard across town. We perceive the words and deeds of others as good or bad, and it gets us excited. It riles up our anger and our frustration. But remember that there really is no such thing as good or bad. It just is. Good and bad are just labels we put on things based on our judgment and our perspective. What is bad to one person might be good for someone else. If a panhandler comes up to you and asks for money, what do? Do you scowl at them? Do you look the other way and pretend you don't see them? Do you yell at them and tell them to get a job? Do you roll up the window and wish that a police officer was nearby? Or do you smile and bless them? Or think a kind thought for their well-being? Or give them $1 or $5 because you feel generous? Or give them a gift card from a restaurant so they can get a meal? Who are we to judge anyone? Jesus admonishes us to judge not, lest we be judged. As humans, we hate to be judged, but we can be quick to judge others. We want approval. We want to be liked. And if someone judges us and we don't like the conclusion they draw, we're offended. If we like what they say, we're proud. But then you see, we're judging them in return. A judgment of a judgment. An eye for an eye. This concept applies to terrorism. The whole idea behind terrorism is to make a group of people so afraid that they become disabled. Easy to conquer. Why give our fear away so easily? Why be afraid at all? That's exactly what they want. The easiest way to combat terrorism is to ignore it. Light casts out all fear. Give your light, and the darkness can't survive. If someone instigates a fight with you, they're trying to get you to fight back. That's exactly what they're looking for. Sure, you can fight if you want to, but what do you get out of it, except for the satisfaction of having been in a fight? What could be more powerful if someone hits you than to show your strength in restraint? Show that you are a better person who cannot be harmed. Who wants to fight someone who doesn't want to fight back? Instead of giving back in kind, give them a little bit more than they asked for. Give them peace, love, and light to inspire them to want something better. When I was in junior high school, there was a boy about my age, and his name was Joey. He was a bit of a bully who saw me, the nerdy 14-year-old, as an easy target. He and his much younger buddies saw me one afternoon on my way home from the bus stop. He had been taunting me here and there, and today he decided it was time to beat Mark up. They caught me in a grassy area between two apartment buildings where hardly anyone could see us. They got me up against the wall, and Joey pounded my face with his fist. I could have fought back. I could have begged to be left alone. As a teenage terrorist, this is exactly what he was looking for. But I surprised him. I stood strong. I figuratively and literally turned the other cheek, which he was happy to hit again. His friends egged him on, but I wasn't responding. Finally, an adult neighbor realized that something was going on and chased the boys off. I let Joey have what he thought he wanted, an easy target, but somehow it wasn't as thrilling as he wanted it to be. He expected me to act like someone who was being terrorized. That would have given him permission to really pound on me. What I didn't give him was something he couldn't have taken away without me consciously surrendering it. Sure, I had a fat lip, but I had my pride. I never hated Joey. I certainly didn't like him, but I've always felt sorry for him. He didn't fit in with the other kids, so in order to get attention, he acted out. In the only way I could, I sent loving energy into the situation instead of judgment or resentment. Instead of responding with the hate that had been directed toward me, I responded with something new and unexpected that changed the whole dynamic. I tried to understand. Joey and his band of little brats never bothered me again, and it wasn't because some kind stranger intervened. That would have been easy enough to avoid. I think he saw that it was no longer worth his trouble to harass someone who wasn't giving in to or accepting his perceived power. I sometimes wonder if Joey's family hadn't moved away shortly thereafter, if maybe we could have eventually become friends. In his discussion, Jesus wants us to understand that the world is neutral. Anything else is made up in our heads. We don't need to hate. We don't need to judge. We don't need to retaliate. All we need to do is be like God. Add a little extra ingredient to the recipe, and it will come out better than before. Don't give what is given to you. Give a little bit more. Give your love and thankfulness for the experience, and understand that all is in divine order. Love your enemies. Nothing can harm you unless you allow it to happen. The key to this lesson is understanding your power. When you give that extra good energy in a less than ideal situation, you're exercising your power as a spiritual being. You might not be able to resolve every situation, but you can certainly give it your best effort without giving your power away. Think about the scene in Munchkinland in the film The Wizard of Oz when we first see the Wicked Witch of the West. She shows up in a cloud of green smoke, and the Munchkins cower in fear. They know she's particularly angry because Dorothy just accidentally killed her sister. She had every right to be angry, but her vengeance was misplaced. Glinda, the Good Witch, who has been trying to help Dorothy gain some perspective on the strange place she ended up, scolds the Wicked Witch. "You have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops a house on you, too." Glinda gave a boost of confidence to the situation, and to Dorothy, and to the Munchkins, and now the Wicked Witch was cowering as she left in frustration. If a situation is leading you to feel scared, angry, doubtful, worried, insecure, or anything else that we tend to label as being negative, you're probably feeding that situation more of the same negative energy. If someone hits you, turn the other cheek. They can't harm you. If someone takes something from you, give them something, and a little bit more. Just like Joey, someone who's looking for the thrill of taking something will be disappointed if it's handed to them willingly. In the end, they might not even want it. In a nutshell, love your enemies, and they probably won't be enemies for very long. Namaste. For additional lessons and meditation ideas, visit our website at www.meditatewnc.org. Thank you for joining us.